Welcome to the 4th season of Heard, Afros Audio Interview Series. I'm your host, Talib Jasir, and today my guest is Stephanie Graham. How are you?
Hi, Talib. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking this time with me. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. I'm very excited.
Introduce yourself for the people. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Stephanie Graham. I'm based in Chicago. I have a podcast called Nosey AF, Conversations about Art, Activism, and Social Change. But outside of that, I'm a practicing artist. I make films and photos and installations around like pop culture, Black joy. That's it.
Listen, that's more than enough.
Yeah.
So thank you. Your show is Nosey AF, like you said, conversations about art, activism, and social change. For folks who haven't heard it yet, what is the show and what kind of conversations are you creating?
Yeah, so on those, I have conversations with artists, change makers. Basically, it can be a practicing artist. Maybe it is someone who's a photographer, they're a sculptor, and they're creating and exhibiting this work. But then it's also like our neighbors. Maybe it's your neighbor who runs the community garden, and it's someone who runs a not-for-profit. Just basically folks who are really passionate about making change in their communities, and then also passionate about art. And I include film in that as well. Sometimes people don't include film in the arts, but I do.
For sure.
Yeah.
It is one of our most artistic expressions.
Absolutely.
And one of our oldest as well. Now, are the conversations mostly local and regional, or do you have anyone from everywhere?
I have folks from everywhere. On second and fourth Saturday of the month, I do have there's like a community radio station here called Lumpin' Radio, where it's a lot of like art, activism kind of shows. And then I think there's like some other like fun shows on there too that aren't in those categories. But when I do that, because it is local, I try to bring like local artists there, just because I'm always like, I record using Riverside. And so then they have the studio that's available to us. So I'm like, hey, we're in the same city, so we might as well meet up. And then it can broadcast out on the radio, and then it also gets archived to my feed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Listen,
Yeah.
that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you born and raised in Chicago?
No, I am from the northwest suburbs called Schaumburg. It's about an hour outside of Chicago, but I've been living in Chicago for, 12 years or so.
Okay.
Live on side.
Nice. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You describe yourself as professionally nosy. I love
Yes.
that. And you're intentional about skipping the glossy bios and getting into the real stuff. Decisions, doubts, money, pivots. Why was that the angle you wanted from the beginning?
You know what? Because I feel like it's what I'm genuinely curious about, just how people are making this stuff work. We'll see artists that might be out here and they're doing all these different fun exhibits. They have all these different brand deals, and they're able to make appointments at 11 in the afternoon. It's, wow, you don't have a job. And maybe they'll fail to tell you that their wife has their own like accounting firm with 6 locations. All these different things where you're like, oh, okay, you're not going to say that in your bio. Thanks to my wife with the 6 location accounting firm, I'm able to afford to do this work. Hey, so I think learning that, I think artists, okay, this is how other people are getting it done, because even though we know that we shouldn't compare ourselves, I think it naturally happens where you're like, wow, how are they getting all this done? And so just knowing the behind the scenes, knowing that maybe if somebody's traveling all the time, it's all being put on credit card. You're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to put stuff on credit card, so I'm trying to pay cash for everything. Yeah, so your movement might not be the same.
Yeah. Having curiosity around the work, I think is so important, especially in your own lanes and verticals, because it is that tendency to see where people are and assume their lives. I know I go through it as a public figure. I'm sure you go through it as well. Anyone can assume how you're moving and why you're moving that way, but they have no idea until they actually have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And it's important for people to understand that. Until you've had a conversation with me specifically, personally, and asked me the questions, then you have no idea.
I know.
Yeah.
I remember I was staying in a hotel, and a friend had hooked me up with their points to be like in like the bougie section. We can go like in the morning. People are like, dang, you living like this? And us, no, my friend hooked me up. So hold on before you start thinking that I have deep pockets or something. Just wait a second.
And it goes all ways. It's not
Yeah, of
necessarily the
course.
person that's capping or doing the smoke and mirrors. But to your point, to deconstruct some of the ways in which we've got it out the mud. It's also important for people to be able to understand and create possibility around that. Just hearing a person's journey and knowing that it wasn't all sweet the whole time is important for people who are trying to do the same thing and don't know how, or don't even know if they should start because that person's how didn't make sense to them. But just start. That's how you'll be able to maneuver.
For sure. It's all not, like you said, negative too. Like some people will just put you on to stuff too. If you need tools, like, you know, there's like a tool library here. People might not know, like, oh, a specific lawnmower, I can go and borrow it. So there's just all sorts that people can just share that can help us either grow our practice or we can learn like some things that we don't want to do. It's just really important, I think, just for us all to share because it all just adds to the greater good.
Yeah. And it's important for me to mention, and I know you're in the same kind of world when it comes to social justice and considering us as a people and how we have navigated certain systems and areas of creativity and expression. I was talking to another woman, Robin Kinney from Detroit, for one of these episodes. She has a trade school for audio professionals. As she was talking, it was just reminding me of back in the day where our families taught us the trade. You had electricians in your family that could come over your house and do the whole house because they kept being taught generation after generation. And it's not happening anymore in a lot of ways and for so many different reasons. So again, I'm just saying that this opportunity to hear from other folks on how we navigate certain areas, funding, support, none of it's easy. It's possible. It's possible. And knowing how possible it becomes from each person's story is so important. It really is.
Yeah.
And you're a multidisciplinary artist and filmmaker. So you could have expressed Nosey AF, I'm going to try to say, because I know it's Nosey AF.
If my dad asks, it's always like art film. That word. What do you mean AF?
Why did audio and conversation feel like the right container for it?
Okay, so this is funny. I felt like audio was good because you didn't have to set up anything, like as far as an environment, right? Like Joke's on You, as it seems like podcasting is also has like video components to it. But I didn't feel like it was just too much to now think, oh my God, is my hair together? What am I going to wear? Like, where's the set going to be? Lights, camera, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, you know what? If I can just do audio, it takes all that out of it. Even if I'm speaking to somebody and they don't even feel their best, like it doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to see this. We don't have to take pictures. And I just felt like it was a easier medium in a way. And I also thought too, just with my own art practice, it was the opportunity for me to learn audio and maybe see if outside of the whole interview format, maybe there's another way that I might want to use it in my own artwork. And so that was really, it seemed easier to transport to if I just needed to have a tape recorder in my hand, or at the time when I was starting out using Skype, it just seemed like a, easier access point for folks to be able to participate.
Absolutely. Shout out to Skype.
Really?
I haven't heard that in a minute. But
I know, I was just deleting all that off my computer, like call recorder and all that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't need this anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right about the easier entry points when it comes to audio and podcasting. And also, I've spoken to several people throughout this 4 years of Heard, and some of them are filmmakers and come from that world. And audio has become this place where they can continue to build their portfolio, continue to do the work even when the opportunities may not be there in their other expressions. This one just being such an easy access point. They're like, I can continue to create here at least until I move back into or move to the next level of what I'm trying to do. Have you discovered that?
No, I am interested in audio narratives. Like, I really do like that. I have some friends that work in that, and I work in film as like my 9 to 5. The folks that are working on these bigger podcasts, it seems like a film set. I haven't done that for myself yet, but I have thought that it does seem like an interesting way. It seems like a way that people are getting projects made. Like they're making these podcasts and audio narratives. Are those called?
Audio fiction.
Audio fiction. Thank you. They would make these audio fictions, and then they're pitching them to studios. And if you get an audience with this audio fiction, they're like turning it into TV shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if it's like a period piece and all this stuff, we have to like scout location to try to make something like 1960. It's like you can just make it 1960 with some sound effects,
Right.
some great actors, and keep it moving.
Yeah.
I hope to be able to do something like that, but not yet.
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. They're different worlds, but it's still the imagination and the execution, and it's still production. It's easier, but it ain't easy.
Right.
Yeah, so there's still work to be done, and so I definitely understand that. It's its own craft that deserves understanding, and I'll point you to some of those conversations that I had with some of those filmmakers where they had to truly understand what it took to make audio when it comes to
Okay.
that. And transfer those skills, because it's all transferable, which is the great piece about audio, the visual, transferable skills. So I love that. So when I read your bio, it feels like you're documenting how artists and organizers not only make stuff, but navigate labor, visibility, and sustainability, and the systems around them. After doing this for a while, what do you think artists are actually up against that the average person doesn't see?
I think money, finances, to be able to make the work that they want to make seems to be the biggest thing, especially if you don't come from like a moneyed background or like a moneyed partner. That seems to be the biggest hurdle. One thing that I have noticed is that a lot of artists do many different things like in their practice. So they can also be like a sculptor, but they also might paint. It's very rare that at least the folks that I've had conversations with, do just one mode of art. That was really interesting because maybe it's loosening up now, but there was a time when folks might look at my own art and be like, okay, which one are you? Are you making films or are you doing photography? Okay, are you doing this for celebrity portraiture or are you photographing no-name people? Which one is it? Because they just want to be so specific. And that's just so whack. It's like, we can do everything. If I can take your portrait like on a white background and make it black and white, I could do that for you. I could do that for the president, any like Obama president, not our current president, like anybody else I could do that for. So it doesn't have to be like so rigid. So I think that's the biggest thing that I have noticed. But then I think the biggest thing that people are up against is having time and money, because jobs get in the way, families get in the way.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and not in a bad way, but there's only so much time in the day. So I think time and money to be able to do the work. Those are the things that that I find artists are coming
general
up against.
Survival. Yeah, general survival
Yeah,
gets in the way. For sure. Basic needs get in the way. Yeah, for sure. And I love that you said that about being multi-hyphenated, multifaceted, or multi-talented. I call it the creator's prerogative. I do whatever the hell I want to do. If I can do it, if I can write and create and produce, then who are you to tell me to leave one of those behind? You know what I mean? It's my right to do whatever comes to me in the expression that I want to do it in. And for me, that's just opportunity as we've evolved as people in society and time. That's liberating to be able to say, you know what, I'll do what I want, when I want, how I want to do it, and who's going to check me.
For sure. And, you know, I remember there was a pastor one time, I went to this church service, and he said that, and I don't know how biblically sound it was because I don't remember if any scriptures were attached to it, but he said that you don't ever want to get to heaven and God's like, hey, why weren't you painting? I made you a painter.
Yeah.
Why are you just, you know, working the checkout counter? Like, I made you a painter. What are you doing? You want to get there. And you want God to be like, whoa, nice. Okay. You did as much as you could. I'm going to do every single thing that is of interest to me. And also certain projects call for a certain modality. Like not everything has to be a song. Maybe it's a writing. Maybe it's an essay. Maybe it's a portrait series. Everything doesn't have to be the same thing all the time. Depends on what the project is. And you don't have to do it yourself. Hey, I want to do these portraits. I'm not really good at photography. Can you help me? But I do know who I want to photograph. Okay, great. So let's go photograph these people and then give you the photographs and you continue on with your project.
That collaboration piece. And it's all from me, and people have heard me say it all the time. It's so deliberate socialization where we've just been taught, as we mentioned before, that we are experiencing survival mode more than we are this freedom of expression, and believing that, or knowing that we can, like, you can do whatever you want. You can ask and reach for people to support you and collaborate with, you can do that. But
Yeah.
we've been taught so much from K to 12 and even in our own homes what we can and can't do. And it shows. And so it's why it's important to have conversations like you're having on Nosey AF, where people do get to see possibility in others and what people did to just break out of this I can't mode, or it's not for me, or it's just me, or who am I to be able to do this work. It's all a mindset first in a lot of ways.
That's really true. Yeah. It is a mindset thing, and it's hard to break that sometimes. But I think when you do see other people doing it, and when you surround yourself with a bunch of people doing it, where if you were to come to me and say, hey, I'm going to do this opera album, and I'd be like, whoa, Talib, are you sure you should do opera?
Yeah,
If you did it and you didn't like it, at least you tried. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the thing, being able to try. And then also you mentioned funding, and I think it's important for us to even explore that for a second, because understanding how resourceful we have been as a people in order to get things done, the traditional funding that other people might be afforded, we already know the systemic impediments when it comes to that. And so the fact that we are able to make things despite it all is something that we really get to celebrate, I think, more. And I feel like socialization, again, has brought shame and guilt of even being able to acknowledge and be with, shit, I got this truly out the mud. Like, I was resourceful enough to make this happen. Where's the celebration in that? We as a people just continue to move and make things happen.
Yeah, no, that's true. And it even sounds, what I'm hearing from that too is just celebrating yourself along the way too, like how you were able to get some of these things done. I had to tell people too that you need help. Like, folks don't know what's going on. But I get it, the whole like shame thing. If somebody says, hey man, I'm trying to do something to make some money, say, oh, okay, let me see if I can help you. You either can help or you can't. You don't have to be like, dang man, you need to make money. You don't have to like try to bust people out and be rude. Be rude and be like, oh, well, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Or trading.
For sure.
Trading is a really big thing.
Absolutely. Skill sharing, all of these things. My son, who's a painter, he wants to do spray painting, and he's skill sharing with a spray painter that wants to learn more about painting. Like, brilliant.
Yeah.
And this is, again, something that we know to do. We've done all of, like, throughout the centuries, and we've lost it somewhere in the socialization of it all. And so it's important that we have these conversations out in the open so people can become a little bit more freer in the way that they move and navigate, especially the work that is within them to create, because that's the tragedy of it all. When folks do stay at the register knowing that they have something in them that they feel like mentally they don't have the opportunity to bring out.
Right.
That's a tragedy.
Yeah. Oh,
For
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me sad.
Yeah, it's messed up. That's why I wrote a book called Becoming a Liberated Creator, because stop. It's 2026. We free people.
Period.
Let's go. Let's move.
Yeah, for real.
Jeez. Yeah. You mentioned in one of your episodes, episode 62 with Reverend Brian Pugsley, recorded right after the 2024 election results. And you said people were feeling shocked, disappointed, and uncertain. You also said he prayed for listeners on the episode. What made you decide to record that conversation at that moment?
You know what? I think we had just did so much, me, myself, like other friends, about trying to get President or Vice President Harris in office. And we really thought that it was going to happen. There was just so much energy behind it. And it was just so, wow, really? And so I just asked Brian, he's a reverend and he has a podcast as well. And I just asked if he could just say something. I'm like, I don't even know what to say, but I feel like just hearing something encouraging would be helpful, to be like, look, we did what we had to do, and maybe this was selfish. I'm like, okay, this is how y'all feel, then you deal with it. We did our part. And so, yeah, it was just something to be encouraged to, just while laying on our bed, like staring up at the sky, just be able to hear, to be like, okay, I'm going to lay here and then I'm going to get up and continue making my art.
Yeah.
Business as usual kind of a thing.
And I really appreciate that from you, because it was a moment for you as a creator to hold space for your audience and nurture them. And that's important. It really is, this intimate relationship, a chosen relationship, really. And so for you to take the time out to consider your audience, I think is something that more creators get to do more of. So after that episode was out in the world, what do you think it showed you about what your audience needs from you and from the show, if anything?
Not sure. I think maybe I hope was just like a, hey, Let's take all the time you need, but then let's just get back to handling business, right? Being in office is not going to stop Nosey AF from being made.
Yeah.
I could be frustrated and like upset and mad about it. No, I have to continue to keep going. And even all the other artists and activist people who came after that episode, it's like they're continuing to go too. We might take jabs and all that kind of stuff on the mic, but we're still continuing on with the work that we are doing, regardless of what it is. Yeah,
absolutely. Allowing defeat to be more of a feeling and not the final nail.
Yeah.
In any of our work. That's our way. We know how to keep it moving in spite of. It's not always the easiest thing to do mentally and emotionally. We are being triggered and traumatized and all these things, but still we rise in every way. We're resilient people. And so it is important to say, listen, we're still here. We ain't going nowhere. Despite all ways in which you want that to happen, it's not going to. And that's important to be able to say. And in our art, for sure. Mm-hmm. It's our greatest form of expression and our greatest authentic expression if we allow it to be our art.
Absolutely. Yeah, as I'm listening to you, it made me think going back to that time, or maybe you're just like sitting on a couch watching something on TV and it's just something wild happening, but then you got to get up and go because you're supposed to meet friends for drinks or something.
Yeah.
So you just sort of take it in and then you just continue on.
Yeah. Alchemists is what we are. We're able to transmute those things into making the world. If we think about the impact of the work, this is the part where we take ugly and trauma and we transmute it into something that's beautiful and inspirational and keeps people going and hopeful and optimistic that there one day will be a better day that we can look forward to. It's all important. Yeah.
Because if you stop, then the world will really get bad, So
absolutely.
You need to absolutely keep going. If anything, this is like the time when you check in and get busy.
Yeah. You said something to that point, thinking about how it all is like an ecosystem for us as artists and creatives. You said something in one of your responses I really loved. You said isolation is unacceptable. Even though the show might look like a one-woman band, it's really not. What does collaboration community actually look like for you behind the scenes?
Being like art friends and podcast friends that you could talk to about things. Nowadays, everyone, I can't remember who it was in one of the past herds. Maybe it was Corey Gums was saying like, you say that you are a podcaster and people look at you as if you're like a 60-year-old rapper because of just like the few bad apples that are out there. I think you need people who aren't going to look at you like that. Like when you, if somebody says, Stephanie has a podcast, people are like, oh, you do? And it does feel a little cringy because of the bad apples out here that are like, giving us a bad name.
Yeah.
I think having friends who you can talk to about your shows, your ideas, your strategies, and they take it seriously, I think that's really important. Or people who you can hire if you're like feeling overwhelmed and like you need somebody to edit something or you can edit for someone else. Sharing in that way is really important. Having people to be able to come on your show is important. Take it seriously. Because another thing too is everybody's always, I thought about starting a podcast. But the folks who are like for real in it, like maybe like episodes 10 and up. Now, if you're like 50 and up, I've passed 100 episodes. Like when folks are at that number, like we're really in it and we're really just trying to continuously make a good show and also still have time or also still be excited about the show that we're making. So being able to have like homies in the space, I think is very important, especially when it's starting to get, what else can I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's everything. And one of the points and purposes of Afros and Audio, it's like we need fuel. We need to feel like there's energy around the work that we're doing and there's people that get it. And not only will they get it, but there's also people who will support it and provide and present opportunities and resources while we're in the business of making. It's important. If you understand that this industry, and like most industries, don't love us. They love the dollars that whatever else it brings, but they don't love the actual independent content creator who is building the entire thing for them. Despite the podcasting industry, this is actually one of the most important mediums that we have because people have access to tell their stories.
Yeah.
Share, unlike TV or film or radio where there is those barriers. So it is important to be able to say, I'm here, you're here. let's talk. Let's get together. Let's share resources. Tell me how to push the button that I've been looking for 3 months because I see that you already found it. That stuff is important.
Yeah. And it feels, I even call Nosey AF like also an archive practice as well, because I feel like some of the artists, if you like go to YouTube, you might put in a certain artist name. Some artists, you might find tons of conversations about them. Other folks, you might not. But because we had a conversation with them, now we've put their name on everything. Their name's all in the show notes. It's all being SEO and all that stuff. It's like now they're a part of the world and somebody else can find them later. So it's not necessarily like maybe a more popular person, but maybe you might identify with this one individual sculptor who also teaches swim class because he's trying to teach his daughter to swim. But you get to hear that journey. You could be like, wow, I'm a painter that also has a daughter. Like, look, so I feel like it's also just important to have the stories out there in the world be discovered.
This is beyond a shadow of a doubt archival work, time capsule, here and now, what we are experiencing, what we're dealing with, what we're choosing, what we're creating. Like, it's truly, every time we publish something, you put it in the archive. And it's important that we do that. If we think about the other generations of this 500, 400-year experience in America, we have a trail of audio to listen to. We're doing the same thing now. And I think the business of it and the industry of it allows us to lose focus of the fact that we are actually being historians right now.
Yeah. I know it makes me think, oh, somebody needs to have a flat file or like some speakers with all of this stuff. It needs to be in a museum somewhere, cataloged. And
it will one day. If you consider it, it will one day. Yeah, and we're simply putting in the work. Some of those archived audios that I'm speaking of now, some of those people recording, some of those people telling those stories may have never known that someone in 2025 or 2026 would be listening to it. You know, in this moment. And so that's the opportunity. And that's really the reason why I'm here. I did it as a festival, but I'm really here to say, let's record our stories right now because it's necessary. Full stop.
Yeah.
You know, kudos to you for your 100 episodes and continuing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations. And thank you. Thank you for staying in audio when you have the other verticals to move into as well. So you also run Artist Admin Hour, this co-working accountability space. Yeah, I want to talk about it for sure because these are important spaces as well. Again, holding space for folks. It's a co-working accountability space that helps artists deal with the admin and infrastructure side of their practices. What made you build that?
I started it because after I got off work, I would still have to maybe record an episode, edit photos, edit film, apply for a grant, all these like tedious things that you do not want to do. And I would still come home and I would do them. And so I just thought, I felt like I kept hearing like a lot of folks were doing co-working, like that's all the rage now, co-working. And I thought because too, I would just meet with my friends to do this. And I'm like, wait, people are paying for this? Hold up. And so I thought, okay, let me host an Artist Admin Hour for maybe artists after they get off work. They still have to do their invoicing from some other side project. They have Instagram captions. Oh my gosh, writing Instagram captions are like the death of me. Like writing Instagram captions, all those types of really tedious stuff. If we all come together, we're all on Zoom, and for 2 hours, we're just getting after it. Even if you have to, there's a person who will come and like meal plan for their family for the week. All these things to like either keep life going or keep our practice moving forward is why I created it. And there's also an opportunity to just like share skills, share resources. There was an artist in there that was like looking for ways to manage their money and think about money. And another person who was there, oh, do you know about this like money check-in on Friday? People just call in. They're like, what? And they were like, oh, great. And they've been going to that ever since. So it's like just an opportunity for us to gather and like work on grant applications. If you need somebody to read something for you, maybe somebody could read it for you then. To work on the tedious stuff of the art world. No, I mean, listen, this is, again, something that is so necessary. A lot of folks just stay in motion. Just get up and do the same thing, rinse and repeat every day, and it's all towards whatever end goal is necessary. And I know for a fact, I've been a life coach since 2015, that folks don't understand that
taking a pause, like just taking a moment, setting aside time to do something, get shit done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as long as you're in motion and you constantly put things to the back burner and say, I don't have time, I can't get to it, there's an hour or two in your day that you just set time and then you get in flow. And that is something that we've been disconnected from, is that there is this opportunity for flow if only we allow ourselves to enter into that space. The society we live in doesn't set that up very well for us.
Yeah.
So you setting time aside not only for yourself, but to create space for others to understand what pausing looks like and just really dedicating time to the things that you care about. Not that you don't care about family and stuff, but you wouldn't be in this space as a creator if this wasn't also important to you and you just can't find the time mentally or emotionally to get it done.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about when other people are showing up to do something, you will get it done too. I really work well that way. I need a trainer to go to work, or somebody needs to bring me to the gym. I'm not about to say, you know what, let me stop and go work out. Like, no. Yeah, but when somebody is making me or I have to show up to somebody, because I don't want to let them down, I will do it. If my partner's coming and it's like, she'll be here at 7, he's going to be hungry. Okay, now I'm up thinking of a full meal to create, you know?
It's accountability. And beyond that, something that I discovered about myself is that being reliable to others will allow me to show up more for them than I will ever. If it was for me, I'll probably just keep putting it back there. But the fact that I know that I have to show up because I said I was going to show up, it's a game changer. And so there's a psychology of that where it's just I'm showing up because my instincts and integrity around reliability makes me show up for others.
Yeah.
I then also get to show up for myself.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I love that. So your approach to growth is, you said you moved away from growth-driven metrics and towards sustainability, depth, and relationship building. What helped you make that shift, and what have you protected by creating that way?
Yeah, so I came out of thinking about getting out of things I couldn't control. Social media followers, likes, download numbers. I cannot control that at all. But I can only control me making sure that I put out a really good product, put out a really good show, make sure all the audio and all of that's very pretty. Who comes on my show? Who do I want to build a relationship with? Who do I think their work should be amplified more? And I really like, because we're going back to like the archiving work. It's like we're getting their voice, we're getting how they think about their art and putting it out there. And then they also have a piece that they can share as well. I was really honored with one artist I had spoke to, their gallerist had put it up on their website. I'm like, oh, wow. But they also never had an opportunity to have their artist speak. Maybe the gallerist never thought to put it together. The artist never really does interviews a thing. And maybe too, they're doing that for me. Let me help Stephanie out on their project. When they see it's all done, they're like, oh, okay, wow. They get to hear what they say and they put it out. So I do think that it is like a really cool way to build relationships. Folks who you want to get to know, folks who you want your listeners to know, you want the world to know more about. Because I never think, oh, I'm putting somebody on. But you're like just sharing people's work. I think that is the sustainable, am I having fun doing that? Instead of thinking about, let me put out a weekly show. I need to pull 5 clips and post them. Like all these like tedious numbers and stuff, that is just like the admin work that you just don't want to do. Now you're just becoming a factory. But when you make yourself a show that you're excited to do, you're excited to talk to somebody. I was excited to come and talk to you today. Then you show up with a better attitude versus just, yeah, you ready to record? Yeah, let's go. Wow. It's like when you make it about your energy and where the energy flows, I think it's better. And I go back to these clips, social media. Oh my gosh. I had a friend just say, if you don't like pulling those clips, just stop pulling them. And it's okay. But I did have one night where I was at home and I didn't really have much going on. And I pulled clips and I posted them. So it's like, where's the energy? So just like waiting until like I have energy to do stuff, I think keeps you going versus trying to create these like rules in your head that you must follow. There is that post a weekly episode, do these clips, this and that, like everybody does. But I also think that people might look at these bigger shows that are like by Wondery or these huge companies that have full teams. It's just me. Yeah. It's just me and maybe a cousin or whatever who doesn't mind making a post with me. But even they don't want to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of illusions out there that cause disillusion in the creative that isn't quite fair. But it's, again, one of those things where you have to recognize that it's perspective and awareness around the work that you are creating. I think it's so important, a lot of the things that you just said, because just having worked with and been around so many creatives, podcast creatives, specifically with Afros and Audio, you could tell once the numbers come up, the deflation begins to happen. But before that, the passion and behind the episodes and what they've created and stuff, it's all there. And as soon as you start talking about the things that we have made them believe as an industry matters, then it's not the same. And so it's just really sucking all the energy and fun out of it. So it is important to know. I just did a cohort with members of podcast community, and I could see the light and the energy come up when it's like, you don't have to listen to anybody outside of yourself for how you want to create what you want to create. You got to get in tune with your own process, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And if you're not willing to be with that and you just keep doing the stuff that you hate, you're going to start doing less of the stuff that you enjoy. Yeah. But it's something that we have to go inside, go internal, stop thinking about whatever anyone else said or how anybody else moves or their process, because it's not you and it's not yours. And it's like the amount of light bulbs comes up this, oh, wait, I can do whatever I want to do? That's me. You can do whatever the hell you want to do.
For real.
That's what I'm always going to preach.
Yeah.
You know?
Seriously. If you don't want to have jazzy theme music, if you just want to start talking, just start talking. If you want it to go for 2 hours and you do it once a month, then so be it. You get to do the show, like you said, exactly how you want to do it. And I just want to say, too, I think it's really dope that you have those cohorts, because I feel like it comes back to just finding friends in this. And I have friends that podcast, but I feel like my friends that podcast, we really just talk about podcasting. So I don't know, is that a friend? I don't really know anything about their life outside of us. Maybe I'll know, oh yeah, they're going to dinner with their partner for an anniversary or something. But outside of that, we really just talk about podcasting and our projects. So I think that it's really cool that you have those cohorts just for folks to be able to be in community with folks that are serious. It's okay, I paid my money. I'm going to be with other people who also paid money. When you pay money, they're serious. So sure. I think that's really cool. It reminds me of a friend who wanted to start traveling, but she would have a bunch of buddies. They don't always have money, all this kind of stuff. But another girl at her job invited her to this travel club. It was a group of people. And so she met them and she travels with them all the time. And it's they know each other. They've gotten to know each other over time. But it's when you show up by yourself to these spaces, you'll meet your squad. So your cohort, after they conclude and graduate from that program, they'll still stay in touch with each other.
That's the point. All of it's always been about the day after. We can always do these things, to your earlier point, and just meet an end goal, or we can consider what it looks like with an expansive mindset around it. How can we go further together? How can we support and provide resources so that we don't have to stay in a spin for too long? We can just really get to it, and know folks that have our back as we're getting to it. That where we talk about the accountability and the reliability aspect of it. That's what community is. That's kinship. We have done for centuries of this diasporic experience that has been really taken out of the ways in which we experience life now. And having grown up in that way, my goal is to refoster that. We need each other. Despite what you might think, there shouldn't be any fear in losing by increasing the folks that you have around you or the support that you have. Scarcity is a big thing that causes a lot of that. So again, thank you for your work and what you've done for the creators, not only in Chicago, but worldwide. It is important. And I love what you said about the SEO and bringing that in for those folks who are also looking to be discovered, also may be independent. And so I hope that plants a seed into other folks. Sometimes we just get into that I'm just me mindset, and it's no, you are doing work that's important and expansive and allows space for others. Let's not diminish that.
Yeah, definitely.
You wanted to spotlight Avalon Park Film House. I wanted to be able to take a moment to do that. Bringing independent cinema and shared cultural experiences back to Chicago's South Side with pop-up screenings and conversations and eventually a permanent space. What's the vision? What kind of support or connections would actually help right now?
In my neighborhood, Avalon Park, the closest movie theater closed down. So in the neighborhood, there is no where to go see a movie. Like, you have to drive far, or sit on the bus a long time. You can't just go up the street anymore and see a movie. And so the Avalon Park Film House, it's just a project that I wanted to do to just create a local movie house where there's independent film screening, maybe not so new as in like Sinners, but maybe it's like Poetic Justice, just like movies that we can watch that folks can just walk to see. Oh, instead of like having sort of a long time to get to the show. You know, I feel that all this stuff should be super duper accessible. The restaurants, the lounges, the movie theaters, but all should be accessible. And so with that, I think I just want to amplify that. It's just a project where, you know, in the neighborhood, just to have local movie theaters. And also, I think, too, for the listener, think about what sources of entertainment are in your area that may or may not be there, and how can you bring folks together to do it. Maybe it's not so much as having an actual space, but maybe if you're comfortable, people come over. You know, it doesn't have to be a big group. It's not like you have to be like, whoa, there's 30 people here. Maybe it's like, you know, 4 neighbors, and you guys come over and you guys talk and you guys watch a movie and talk about the film. You know, same thing. You could do it with podcasts too. Everybody pick a podcast, listen to it, and then talk about it. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Research that you could bring to the conversation. I think it's just creating spaces more for community, but also I feel like more for community that isn't like, you know, tied around like alcohol. There's tons of lounges around. Just a simple movie theater. We can go and watch that and then walk back home. Yeah,
access to creative outlets and expression, we have underestimated how important it is. When it's gone, you feel it.
Yeah.
When it's gone, you feel it. So yeah, great. I'm glad that you are working to build something like that, and definitely we'll share whatever link and support that we can provide. And speaking of that, is there anything else that you want to share with the people before I let you go, and definitely let people know where they can find you online and how they can support you and work with you?
Yeah, something that I feel like you're inspiring too that I'm working on is August is Black Business Month. And I don't know if you know him, there's a podcaster, Denzel Turner. His podcast is called Black Fridays, where he spotlights Black business owners in Detroit. And last August, I was like, you know what? It is summer. I don't want to edit. Why am I doing this? Why did I do this to myself? And I thought this year, maybe I'll be even more crazy, but I wanted to have 31 Black business owners that I talk to and then spotlight them every day in August, similar to Herd. Basically, it's just copying Herd.
Nice.
And so that's what I'm doing right now. And if you go to nosiaf.com/blackbusiness, there's a form for you to sign up and then get into the rotation. So I think that's the biggest thing that I want to highlight. Yeah, I'm excited to do it. I feel like people who do, and maybe if you have any advice for doing these daily podcasts, because anybody who I hear that does them, they're like, why did I do that? But
for sure.
It'd be fun. It could be fun to do. And again, people that are hitting me up, it's like, you're in the neighborhood of Coach Business. Oh, you teach like gun safety, or, oh, you're a hairstylist. Like, just all these people who, this is an opportunity for them to talk about their business, how they got there. So I want to try this daily podcast challenge too. There's that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Anything you want to know, I'm definitely here to support with that. It's a great effort, and I truly believe that we have to know each other exists. We have to know each other exists in order to do the work, and we have to demystify so much that just isn't broken down so it can forever be broken when it comes to us at this point. And our evolution, we've got to get back to community. We've got to get back to communicating our experiences so that it allows space for others. I really appreciate the work and effort that you are doing. Please let people know how they can find you on social media and also online.
NoseyAF.com is the podcast. My Instagram is Stephanie Graham, my name with the PH, and then Graham, like graham crackers.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for the series. It's really cool to get to learn all of these different podcasts that are out, and then podcasts that are still around. When you check, you're like, let's see if they're still, and they're still making, like, folks I was binging on, they had just put out an episode like the last week or whatever. So thanks so much for doing this, for your work. Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate it. All right, take care.
Bye.